Hi, it's me, Mark Monlux, and I want to recommend a movie for this weekend. Uh, by the way, this is my Friday night movie recommendation. Hellboy from 2004, directed by uh, Guillermo del Toro. I always have the hardest time saying his name. Guillermo, I'm butchering his name. Guillermo, Guillermo del Toro. Anyway, love his films. Great director. He also wrote on this. The original creator was a fellow named Mike Mignola, and there was also another writer on this group called Peter Briggs. Before I go into all the reasons you should watch Hellboy, let me first mention what was happening in 2004. New things on TV was House MD, Shameless, and Lost. The Oscar that year was The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. And the number one toy for girls was Bratz Funk Out Party. So, anyways, 2004. Well, Hellboy was an established graphic novel. Um, Mike Mignola had done several of them. This movie is sort of like a compilation of about 3 or 4 of his storylines, or elements were drawn or heavily used upon this, and then they wrote the script around that. Now, when Del Toro and Mignola were both thinking of who to have as Hellboy, they pretty much blurted out at the same time to each other, Ron Perlman. And they went to bat for Ron Perlman because they really wanted him to be Hellboy. And when you watch Hellboy, he just dips into this role so well. In many of the fans' heart, he became Hellboy and would always be Hellboy. Since this movie's come out, there was a sequel, but I'll get into that in a bit. So, lovely visuals. Del Toro really knows how to make the supernatural come to life. If you've seen The Devil's Backbone or any of his other works, he's got a wonderful flair for doing just that. A lot of the things that he didn't want to do in this film was he didn't want to be in sewers anymore. He thought he had done enough of that with Mimic, and enough with that. There is a lot of Lovecraftian references going on. There are so many references in this movies to the various other comic books that Mignola did, the various other cultural things in pop culture, but mainly a lot of stuff from his other comics are seen like in the background. It's just so much fun. So if you're a fan of his comics, you were overjoyed by this coming to the big screen. And Mike said that it's been reported that he said that he was very pleased at how well this film came off. It did pretty good in the box office. It did pretty well going internationally. There were some places that had an issue with hell being in the title. And also in the toy lineup, a lot of places had issues with hell being on the toys. But the story was quirky enough, fun enough, and just very engaging. And really, a lot of that came down to Ron Perlman, I think one of the critics said that there was Ron Perlman brought more boy than hell to Hellboy, and that exuberance is what really brings out this film. And you see it all the way through. It's just a wonderful film. You just sit back and you just really enjoy what they put together here. Now they did make a sequel, Hellboy and the Golden Army, which I thought was a pretty decent sequel. Then everyone was hoping that Ron would come back and play Hellboy again. But when they rebooted Hellboy, they went in a different direction. And I don't blame the actor. I think he did an okay job with Hellboy, but I think a lot of us were still in love with Ron being in the role, or would have liked to have seen him in the role. And then there's another Hellboy movie came out with yet another actor. So the franchise has been around, but it's hard to beat the solid strength of the first film. The second one's pretty good, but you'll really enjoy watching Hellboy. It's hard for me to imagine that this film has been around for 20 years. It makes me feel old. Anyway, now you can watch Hellboy on Canopy. Canopy is, and that's spelled with a K, is a streaming service offered by universities and libraries. Your library probably offers it. All you need is a library card and a zip code, and bam, you're in. And you can basically watch films and movies for free. And there's a lot of really good quality stuff on there. I watch a lot of stuff on Canopy. But like a lot of you, I've got a lot of other streaming services I subscribe to. But there's a lot of really good stuff to be found on Canopy. Now, if you like this movie recommendation, please click and follow me. I'm trying to build up my numbers. I'm also hit that like button. And I'll have another movie recommendation for you next week.